Hello.
Hello,
Hi.
and welcome back
Hi.
to Strange Hungers. It's so good to be here. Last we left off, which was, I think, over a month ago at this point, so bear with
Yeah.
us if we're a little rusty. Last we left off, the expedition, the Fulcrum Expedition, had made their way to the continent of Valkyrie. Crossing the Kvekdal Ocean, the frozen Kvekdal Ocean, on the Guild Star, a boat crewed by pirates, old acquaintances of Awaish. They had made their way to Cersei, the entrance port town on the archipelago of the continent of Valkyrie, and then traveled up that archipelago towards the Ferris Pass, where they will be able to cross over onto the main body continent of Valkyrie, heading towards the mountains, the Gale Peaks, where Matthias's order, the Order of Black Ice, reside. Upon encountering the Order of Black Ice, hopefully they will begin their journey deeper into the continent. However, upon their near arrival to Ferris, their sled was attacked by a number of strange oozes that came out of this black oil that can be found here on the continent, which melted, ate, devoured most of their supplies. They stopped to restock at this factory town and uncovered some discontent among the workers of this factory, the exploitation of these people who toiled to bring this oil up and this coal up from within the continent. Unfortunately, as they were talking, engaging with sort of a underground guild, not really a thieves guild, but more of a union guild in certain ways, Barden, or Novel, was kidnapped by a seemingly friendly scholar who turned out to be a Nepo baby of the artificers who run the factory here, and was forced into a fighting ring in the evening, in the wee hours of the morning, within the factory itself. And of course, their party staged a very insistent attack on the main house of these artificers, made their way inside via the tunnels, and managed to kind of rescue Novel. Novel also fucked some shit up. Upon doing so, Awaish cornered... Oh gosh, what was his name? Do you remember?
Pray.
Prey cornered the son of one of the artificers and managed to, with the rest of the party, track him down through the tunnels and kind of convince him that what his family was doing was wrong, mostly at spell and sword. And then, fleeing the tunnels, the party found refuge finally with the help of one of Matthias's guiding spells in an encampment a little bit further away from the village to manage to try and eke out a few hours of rest as dawn rises. This is where we find your party. Smoke still billows up from the tree line, although you cannot see the massive stone walls and brick walls of the refinery from where you are. You've taken rapid shelter, thrown your belongings to the side, trying to get whatever rest you can, as you can hear, even from perhaps a mile away, strange sounds, loud noises, yelling calls, the sound of a town not just coming to life, but coming to perhaps something more chaotic than that. I'm going to allow you all, at the top of this episode, to gain the benefits of only a short rest, not a long rest. That means you do not regain your HP. You can spend hit dice if you have any remaining to try and heal yourself up over the course of a short rest.
Oh, I have a bunch
Some
of
of
hit
you
dice
have certain
left.
abilities.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Some of you have certain abilities that will allow you can regain on a short rest, but that's it for now. Also keeping in mind that each of you at the top of this day are going to gain a point of exhaustion, which means that you all should have disadvantage, I believe, on ability checks for today.
Stupid. That's dumb.
I already have disadvantage on some of those.
Yes.
So rude.
That does mean that if you make any rolls at the top of the day that are ability checks, you will have disadvantage on those.
Woof.
Hmm.
Great. Love it. Love it
Because you're
so
sleepy.
much. I
Yeah.
already have I'm just fucking. I'll quadruple fucking disadvantage, I guess. Fuck
Now, normally
Matthias.
disadvantage
This is
doesn't
nice.
stack.
Mhm.
Normally it doesn't, but
Matthias-
in this case,
Matthias is a
Fuck you.
special little baby.
I'm a
Just for
special
Matthias.
guy. When I fuck up, I fuck up epically.
But Sloan, the
You're-
way Matthias
you're not
rolls,
special
just
guy.
take ones at this point.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Boomer.
Listen, in slightly better news, I don't have 4 points of exhaustion. I have 3 now.
Wow.
Slightly better.
God's favorite.
Azrael looks fucked up. How is Awaish feeling? I also want to check in for their status at the top of the day.
Guess I should roll that, shouldn't I? I mean, they weren't good yesterday, and they haven't slept. So
Poorly.
I rolled 2 hit dice and got 2 8s on them.
I rolled 2 d4s and I
Nice.
got a 2.
We don't have any bard or
Uh,
anything, so there's no song of rest.
But that gives me 20 hit points back.
They usually look
Damn.
tired in a sexy way, but now they just look tired, and that's so sad.
And how's Novel doing? Did you heal up any hit dice, Shan?
Yeah, I took a hit dice. I'm on like 58 of 80, so probably considering looking pretty good considering I got beat up.
Yeah.
I got kidnapped
53
and
of
beat up.
79, so samesies.
Yeah.
And
Barton and
Azrael
Kiara can
is
actually get up in the
certainly-
morning.
Yeah, listen, I
a little rough.
used the last of my hit die. I'm at 34 out of 74. I was at 11. So
Yikes.
Okay. I think the
Yeah.
one who looks the best out of you is actually Neve.
Yeah,
Neve
of
just
course.
like curled up on a pack. She stretches. She's got this like
Freaking
dewy, I'm
Snow
a young
White.
noble daughter glow to her, where
Oh,
she just
you're
have her
such a
skin
bad
is
sleep.
perfect. Her hair falls
Bird
naturally.
launches from her arm. You know, it's like
Yes,
Snow White.
exactly. She's like,
Is there
Vice.
And then Wage next to her, like,
I was gonna ask,
Yeah.
does anyone need healing after hit dice? Because I did regain packed slots.
Oh.
All right,
I
come
think
here.
I'm okay.
Come here, Tazriel.
a little hat.
All right, I'm gonna pump a 2nd level cure wounds into you because that's where my pack slots are. So that's usually 2d8 plus 4, but I think Alex gives us an extra d8. Is that right?
For a cure wounds.
Mm-hmm. Since it's
Yes,
touch based.
you
Yeah.
cure wounds is a baseline 2d8 instead of 1d8 here in this
Okay.
world because
Based-
the connection to healing energies is stronger for some reason. I wonder what.
Well, I started with 13 rolled. Let me roll this one again.
I got some really beautiful
But-
dice at Gen Con, and I'm
20.
very excited about them. I
20?
wonder if you guys can see them.
oh, look at that.
Ooh!
They're very icy.
Shout out that creator. Who's that by?
These are Dispel dice.
Ah.
Oh, those
Oh,
are cool.
I'm also
nice.
rolling Dispel. Let me show you. I did a random set, and they got me this one, which is perfect for
Oh,
Kiara.
pretty.
Kiara.
Mhm.
And then I have another one
Right.
with reds in it, which is also really pretty. But I don't know if you can see it, but it's
Trying to see if I can teleport you guys.
got this red and gold stuff going on.
Teleport us. I gotta open a multiverse. That's so
No.
pretty.
Oh, God,
It's
I
mostly
forgot
for a
about the
background. I'm
thing.
just gonna put you in the town, like
Yeah.
kind of
And
somewhere.
So we hear that shit is happening. I feel like we should probably mobilize as
Yeah.
soon as possible.
100%.
And take a look. Like, I don't know how close we can get to town. Would somebody be willing to scout? Go scout a little bit. Oh yeah, send the rogue with
hand up,
4,
and Barn is
5
like,
levels of
"No,
exhaustion.
No.
Yeah, I was gonna say, as Taz raises his head, Kiara's gonna put her hands on her hips and glare at him.
Darren doesn't get exhausted.
Darren can't
Great.
see shit.
I don't think you've ever. You've probably
I
not
can-
seen Mama Kiara bust
We
out.
want to
Taz.
send the book. I can always look myself.
I can just go, just not in this space, easy as.
Right.
Oh,
He'll
right.
stand
Or I
out.
could just climb a tree and see what I can see.
He'll stand out just
I'm
as
good
much
at
as a stranger as yourself, I think. Maybe just send the book. If Darren wouldn't mind.
Darren.
Certainly not.
Right. Be careful.
Send the book.
All right. Darren
Send
unfolds
in the book.
his
Oh,
folded
boo.
flaps and takes wing. Oish, will you give me a perception check for Darren? Keeping in mind you do have disadvantage.
Yes, I will be doing not
Using
Darren's
your-
perception, but my own. Yes.
Excellent.
Thank God.
Wait, if I
Okay.
if
The
I
first
know
roll was a 23.
Wait,
great.
Sarah, before you roll, if Kiara knows that you are doing this with
You
your
can guide.
skills, Kiara will ask if you would like guidance.
What's that?
It might help light the way given how tired we are. And
What is it? What are you?
it doesn't heal you in any way.
Oash is torn between being so tired and wanting to understand what you're about to do, and for once their tiredness wins over, and they're just like, fine. I'll let you.
Because it's inevitable that anything Kiara does comes with a little bit of heat. Where they touch you, there's just a little bloop of warmth
Mhm.
that flows out, but it's not healing or overwhelming. It's the touch version of a light breeze in your hair.
Mhm. Yeah.
Darren got a 22 on his stealth check,
Okay.
by the way.
Has
Hey,
Nice job, Darren. Go book.
Okay. And I'm gonna roll guidance on here because I don't know where my d4s are. Oh, hello. So 12 is what I rolled on the die for my disadvantage, plus my 6 to perception is 18, plus 4 for guidance is 22.
Yay!
Fantastic.
Wild.
I can see.
I see all.
Oish, your vision goes blank, recedes into Darren's, which is always a little strange around the edges when you're looking through him. That sense of tunnel vision is very tunneled into this one eye, and there's this weird sense of currents around you representing his blind sight, the way that he feels out the space of the world around him, very different to his physical form and manifestation within it, as he takes off over only maybe half a mile or so of forest that you guys had traveled to get away from the rest of the town. He looks down, and through his eye, you see smoke billowing not just from the smokestacks of the factory, but from a number of other cottages that kind of surround the outskirts of Fierce, scattered and dotted through the woods, as well as the house that you had seen previously. It looks like some pieces of burning paper or other debris or refuse have been thrown onto the roof of the house. A number of them have kind of fallen into the snow. You see a bunch of pockmarks, but there have actually, some fire has actually caught onto the roof of the house where you had met the artificers previously. Doesn't seem to be doing a lot. Maybe there's some kind of warding there, but the river itself, that black river, is also flickering with flame in places. As if the oil or the coal or whatever debris is allowing the heat of this fire to catch within it. There are a number of people out as well, not just folks that you had seen in the market when you were perusing, or the guards that you had seen assisting the artificers dressed in that kind of, factory accoutrement with the hats and the dark clothes, but just a larger number of folks than you've seen previously in Fierce who are out in abundance, standing around surrounding the gate of both the factory and the artificer's house, the inn and tavern where you had been staying, the Slickhole Inn. Also a number of people. It looks like travelers' belongings have been dumped outside of the inn, and it is alight with life. The dinginess of it turned into a bright beacon as lights shine out through it. People are gathered around it, and it seems as though a large black fur tabaxi has climbed up onto the roof of the inn and is shouting things down to the crowd that is standing in the square of the marketplace.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oish, like, their eyes rolled back. They staggered a little, but got their staff out and is holding. And it's just kind of, as they see this, relaying it to the party in this kind of monotone voice, but then turns their attention. Is our shit still here? Like, not our,
You
but
had
our
had,
sled?
I think it was Novel and Matthias who last night were able to pull some of your stuff from
Okay.
the
Yeah.
And
We
we got
rescued
the
it.
sled as well.
Yes, so you have updraft your
So we're
sled,
tight.
which you had
Amazing.
made some repairs to. It isn't, in perfect shape, but it's definitely in traveling shape. And you also have Era of your horse.
Hell yes. Haunts.
Got a hunts.
Is Laura traveling with us?
Oh. Let me see if I can find. And we'll try to find Laura in this mess.
Okay, you've already made a decent enough perception check to pass any kind of DC on that. As you send Darren scouting around, looking around the inn, like I said, a bunch of people's belongings have just been thrown out. It seems like there are a number of disgruntled travelers who maybe were here for the market, whose
fuck 'em.
items have been, taken out to the side. Scouting a little closer, kind of winging down with Darren. Noticeably a few stares and strange looks. Someone throws a beer bottle past Darren that he easily avoids. Again, his stealth is pretty high, so he's not picking up a ton of attention or making a ton of noise within the crowd. It looks as though a gaggle of dwarves is standing to the side, away from the crowd. They seem to have managed to have held on to a number of ale mugs from the Slickhole Tavern and are carousing quite loudly. Laura among them, not drinking, but rather, I think, just kind of smiling bemusedly at the
What is
scene.
that called? Is that stealing the pint? I seem to remember it being called, steal a pint. Y'all ever have those?
Taking a walk me down. That's what we used
Now
to
that
call
they're-
it.
We didn't
Now
have
that
a
their
cool
stuff
name
has
for
been
it,
thrown
but
out and is at their feet. It looks like there are a number of mismatched pint glasses and ale mugs that are just strapped to their luggage.
Fucking
They're
incredible.
souvenirs. They're travel
Yeah.
souvenirs.
Great. We should collect them and probably make our
Try
exit.
my best.
We need to get the. I named these little fuckers, and I've forgotten their names, but
Oh, your goats.
yeah, our little homies.
Baru and Yaru.
Thank you.
Yaru and Yaru.
Okay. Where are they being kept?
They were being kept with your horse. We can say that you grabbed them as well.
Great,
but
great,
they
great.
probably
Oh,
have been
okay.
foraging in the woods recently to get their feed for the day.
Matthias is gonna. I think that our exit is north of town, right? Like we are headed north.
Yes.
Maybe if we ask them, have they seen Darren, or would that just freak them out?
Oh, well, Laura is a spellcaster, so it's 50-50, honestly. Should be fine. Let me try. And Oasia's gonna take Darren over to Laura and just like wrap a paper around an arm.
Great.
Hope that they get the idea.
Laura takes notice of Darren as he approaches, and they've got this orb that I had
Mhm.
mentioned previously that looks
Yes.
kind of like a moon. They kind of, hand goes to the orb. They've got a little orb pouch. Like one of those
Orb?
Yeah.
teacup saucers at Ren Fair, but you put an orb in it. And
Always keep that thing on.
their hand goes to the orb. They look towards Darren. He alights very gently, kind of hummingbird floating nearby, and reaches a tendril out, and they kind of smack it in a very playful way.
Yeah.
And then, looking a little closer, you are a strange type of familiar.
Oish kind of like smirks, which doesn't show through the book, but then takes a little hand tendril and like points in a direction.
Are you also making your way out?
I can't. I'm guessing that when we are mind melded, speaking is not an option, right? Yeah, that's what I was assuming.
Darren can speak telepathically, so he can speak on your behalf. So he can kind of get an effusive, yeah, we're bouncing.
Which is exactly what he'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he pulls away. They kind of wave and then seem to begin to try and gather their brothers and siblings to exit.
Crazy.
They will meet you
North of
wrapping
town.
around on the outskirts on the north of town. You guys have to wind your way around, but you were already kind of to the north of town. You just need to pass a little bit more, let's see, like northeast, I think it would be, to scout around the river without crossing over and passing by the factory. You gather your belongings. Vice also has awoken, probably says something about like, fucking get me up before I have my coffee or whatever, and then gathers the rest of you. I have a marching order from previously.
Basic bitch. Jesus.
Hey, hey.
Yeah.
She's not basic. She just loves coffee. She's tired, all right? She's a grandma.
She's
I'm not-
tie-tie.
She could. You're divergent and needs stimulants.
Yeah, Sarah, how do you feel? How do you feel
She's
about that?
neurodivergent and a minor.
So
I don't remember our marching order, unfortunately. I'm sure.
I have it written down from previously, so you guys let me know if you want to change anything of this. Owesh on Erev, Barden walking, Neve in updraft, Taz on Baru, Kiara on Yaru, Vice in the cart, and then Matthias either leading the cart as well or walking.
Yeah, I'll help lead the cart and
Okay,
sort of take a look around. I want to be able to see what's in front of me.
excellent.
I let my senses expand.
All right, your mind goes woo woo woo, and you feel everything.
Oh God, it's too much.
You're one with the earth now.
Yeah,
Oh no.
Liam is in you.
Ooh. Ooh.
Okay,
Let's get the
Maddie,
fuck
you
outta
can
here.
make-
Yes.
You can make a perception check. As you are leaving, your group packs up. You're exhausted. You're bleary. You're moving through the woods. You can see smoke rising. You can hear shouts and cheers. It seems like they're chanting something repeatedly. Kind of starts as like a burn it down, and then there are other people going, not our houses, and then it turns into a like, the factory falls.
Alex,
shouts and
turn your
cheers.
fucking alarms off. You're a nightmare to society. Turn them off.
But I'm thinking about it.
His alarms are like, ooh, wake up, you're so sleepy. And it's like, we've fully been awake for 2 hours.
I keep thinking it's my phone. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I keep being like, how? What?
I got a 16 for perception, for the
A
record.
16 for perception. Okay, excellent. Fantastic. And we're traveling.
We're
That's
going.
great.
We're getting out
We're
of
going.
here.
Run away.
We're amazing. This map is useless. I was changing the time of day on it, but it's useless. You're into the unknown.
Goodbye. Have fun with
Yay.
your revolution. I
Yeah.
hope it's everything.
Morn,
But-
the tabaxi that you had encountered previously, doesn't get to see you to say goodbye.
Aw.
It was a 12. Saying
That's
it for
okay.
proof.
That's decent.
I have a plus
Who
4,
knows?
so it's a 16.
You can only go up from here. You're doing great. You don't get to say goodbye to Morn the Tabaxi, but as you are exiting the town, Darren's still scouting overhead. He has stepped off from the roof and seems to be leading the more organized group from the inn to join the crowd that is surrounding the factory itself. And kind of almost in like a circular pattern, they are moving around the factory, the lights on and the smokestacks at the factory. At some point in the distance, you see the largest smoke cloud go out, as if whatever has been happening continuously within this factory since you arrived to Pyrrhus has finally stopped.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Labor
Hell
organization.
Yeah.
I love that.
As you finally leave behind the outskirts of the town and step more into the woods, Matthias, you know very well the route to the pass. Kiara.
Have the formerly indrugged of us calmed down?
Right.
Oh, you slept it off,
You
maybe.
walk your way towards that path to hear some kind of song being sung over and over repeatedly in very low and gravelly voices, and then occasionally a slightly higher pitched voice kind of marking off the end of a word with a little yeah.
Cute.
And it seems to be something like everyone falls down, the boss falls down, the head falls down,
Fuck
the sword falls down, the axe falls down, fires go out, and we are all together.
We already got a
Aw.
song.
Barden is writing this down.
Why-
by the
why
way.
don't-
Makes us
Why don't
Baby's
we
strong.
have a song?
We don't even have a
Does it work
group
on this?
name. Well,
I know.
technically we were given one.
If you all start singing collectively, I'm done.
Not up for a little group sing, Vice?
Are you?
No,
Okay.
but I would be.
The
For a
Lotus-
second, I thought the drugs had not worn off yet.
I didn't take
Do,
it.
do the Black Lotus?
No,
not
no, for
have
me,
a
if I was
song,
imagining
or-
things.
Vice is the odd one out here. It's not uncommon.
I've never been much of a fan of karaoke nights.
You've just not had a good one, obviously.
Unfortunately, losing some of your best singers to wild beast attacks makes it a bit hard to be excited. Everyone that is left is terrible.
Oh, see, when we lost a good singer to the waves, we would just have a contest to see who was the new best.
Hmm. Typical.
No.
Are we really going to be traveling with these drunken dwarfs all the way through the order?
Oh,
They seem
I'm
alright.
sure that they've started singing as we were talking about singing.
Mhm.
Oh yes, well the dwarves were the ones who were singing.
I see. I
Not
see.
not the crowd, but the dwarves. So as you approach, you can hear them through the woods. You truly do not remember how many of them there were. I am sure I wrote it down at some point. but I
There
think I
were three
have-
in Laura.
Thank you, and they all had names.
Yeah, they did all have names.
Some
but
were like Lorstad.
You
something
you
like that.
named so many characters, and that's really brave
Why
of
would
you.
I ever name
love
a
that.
character? Please, if I ever try and do that again, warn
I'll
me.
stop
so I
you, yeah.
stop. I think that will be very helpful. I even have a thing called session recap that I have not put the names of my dwarves in. So
I know.
leaving your characters unnamed until they need it is clutch.
Mood.
So real.
that's so brave of them. Anyway, as the dwarves are singing, they end their song and they collectively declare that they're renaming themselves. So whatever I say next is
No,
They
just
rename
use
themselves at
different
every
names
town
in
they go
them.
to.
they
Yeah,
actually have a
because
they're-
then they
get
can't
so
get fucked
drunk,
up.
They forget
Yeah.
their nickname for the previous town and they have to make a new one up.
Amazing. Yep.
Laura stays the
Can't
same
find
though.
you. They don't have your name.
Well, it's the same because they're a boss.
They're the
Less
DD.
drunk.
Yeah. So you come through the clearing to see this path laid out. The one thing that I will note with Darren's high perception is that away through the crowds and everything like that, there were a few of these hired guards who it seems were setting off away from the town on horseback in a few different directions. You're not sure where they were going, but a few of them did seem to be exiting the town. So the path that you would be taking to the pass, you are unsure if you might meet people along it or have people coming up behind you on it.
All right. We might have trouble coming, so perhaps we should pick up the pace.
Sure.
Mm.
Probably better to just move quickly and get out of their hair.
Yeah.
Rather than spend time trying to cover our tracks. I'm sure after a certain distance they'll stop caring.
One of the dwarfs pipes up. We don't have any kind of livestock, but nor should we need it. We can just keep going.
Great.
We're just gonna run. Amazing.
Let's move with some alacrity. Sorry, VJ, what were you saying?
I think Taz is like has like secured himself on his little guy so that if he falls asleep, he doesn't fall off.
Passed out on a goat.
Excellent.
Amazing.
It's a very sturdy goat.
Finally, he's getting a nap in. I'm so proud of him.
Yeah, he deserves it.
Matthias, with your directive, your group sets off. Neve is also kind of dozing in the cart still, again, like a sleeping beauty. And you begin your trek up the pass. Normally, when you travel this route, it is a little calmer. You might even be escorted by some people between the actual town of Pyrrhus up into the pass, as the Order has previously had a arrangement of sorts for always having safe passage for themselves and anyone that they might be traveling with, new recruits, through the mountains. Unfortunately, you do not have that guide this time, and it does seem as though the recent inclement weather has made the path a little bit more difficult to traverse. Fallen branches at some point, seems like even trees have fallen. A number of strange melted slick patches of ice where perhaps the temperature has just caused these, like drifts on top of slick patches. So navigating with your livestock and your cart is a little bit more difficult. It's not a particularly comfortable route, and you are continuing to head upward as you leave Pyrrhus behind. You've already made your perception check generally for looking out and scouting around. I would love for one of the people who is on a mount or walking ahead to give me a navigation check to see just how well you're traversing this road in particular.
Navigation check?
Could be navigation.
Is that survival?
A check for navigation would be either survival. I think survival would be fine for me. So.
Okay, that's a
Shane, you're
disadvantage,
muted.
right?
We're all at disadvantage currently because we are 1 point of
Yeah.
exhaustion.
Yeah. I have +3. If that's
I
helpful.
have +4, so I could do it. But my question is,
Oh yeah, you go for it.
just as a general rule, how does guidance work with one of these long checks?
I tend to prefer the use of guidance on a single check for a smaller instance.
That makes
Something
sense.
like this survival represents you taking the time over hours to.
That's a 12.
A 12? Okay.
Right.
Excellent. And Matthias' perception was a 13?
16.
16. All right. Well, now that we have exited Pyrrhus, if there were any conversations that you guys wanted to have as you were traveling, I know, Novel, you had just come from a particular experience. I'm assuming most of you are in that bleary-eyed state where you didn't sleep. You're just kind of trudging along, trying to make your way out. But if anyone would pick up a conversation as you're traveling. I know Tazriel and Kiara, you were next to each other on the goats. Matthias and Novel, you guys are probably walking ahead a little bit, since you are the two who are scouting more.
Yeah, man. While they're walking, I do think that Matthias looks over at Novel and is just like, how are you?
I think Barden's like walking, but has like started writing down what happened in the last like night, just so it's written down because it was a lot, and sort of closes it and goes, I guess it's a new thing to all of that. I've read a lot of people of these things happening to others, and well, my father always told me to be safe just in case that happened to me, but for entirely different reasons. But didn't think just because I was strong. It's not what I expected. But I'm okay. I'm fine. I'm good. I'm good. I can keep going. I'm fine. I can keep watch. I'm okay. I'm good. I don't know. Are you guys okay?
Matthias lets them just talk for a little while, and then when they ask like, "How are you? I'm good. How are you?" He
I'm avoiding this.
reaches over with a large hand and just like puts it on Barden's shoulder, and says, "Waking up in a strange place is stressful. Being taken advantage of is equally so, and being kidnapped isn't too great either. So it's all right if you're not all right."
Have you ever experienced anything like that?
I have.
I mean, you don't have to say anything, but
It was, well, the first time was a long time ago, and the rest of them sort of became par for the course. Not so much the
Sorry.
kidnapping, but waking up in strange places, mostly because I touched something that I shouldn't have and got knocked out and woke up not understanding what was going on.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant you got kidnapped several times. I was going to be a bit concerned. Is that just par for the course for the waste? Touching things and waking up somewhere else?
Not for everyone.
Just for you. You laugh.
I seem to have
Meant to be a joke.
I seem to have a tendency. But
Maybe the world just wants to see you.
maybe. But it, you know, I mean it's all right to be off kilter for a while.
I just don't. I don't like how I handled it. I feel like I should have been better. Because, you know, who I am, and if someone else had been there, it wouldn't have been a problem. They could have gotten out, no problem. But I don't think I was as good as I could have been. And it's not good to feel. I felt stupid. Tricked by that little squirt. I don't know. I don't want to just disbelieve in people, not immediately, but it's not great when that happens.
Matthias looks very thoughtful for a moment, and kind of has like a long pause the ones that he's kind of prone to when he's like conversing with people. But he eventually just like looks at you and says, "You did exactly what was required of you, which is you survived. And you did get out."
I guess.
There's no way to know what anybody else would have done in that situation. As for not trusting people, I understand that feeling. I'm perhaps not the best person to talk to about overcoming that feeling, but I think it's okay and perfectly reasonable to feel that way.
I think the way I was raised and the way I am, my Abba, he told me to try and trust because people wouldn't trust me if they knew. So to try and make those bridges before they got burned, you know? be open to it. Just in case. Maybe it's much safer in a library than out in the world. Although that library is dangerous. So. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate knowing you're not alone. Pats his hand on her shoulder, gives it a little squeeze, like the monstrous talons, and just doesn't give a shit. Just thank you. You're a good leader. You're doing great. You're doing good.
He like coughs at that like sudden like you're a good leader and looks surprised. It's just you're doing fine. And he's gonna pull his hand away and continue walking forward.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, on the goats.
Alex is muted.
Oh, I was gonna say. Oh, you are muted.
His words are not coming through at all.
What is happening in Goat Town?
In Goat Town, Kiara is just staring at Taz. And she's like, "Sir, what have you done to yourself?"
I think as you say that, there's like an immediate jerk, like he was already falling asleep.
You woke the baby up.
Oh, this is like fairly early on.
Oh,
But I don't know how long it took you to fall asleep.
You know, no, actually, hold on. He has 3 points. No, yeah, honestly, like almost immediately into this, strapped himself in, trying to stay awake, and has literally just kind of.
Oh yeah. So then, yeah, she watches several rounds of the. And then she says.
Nothing.
So, this is normal for you now?
I hope not. This feels horrible. This feels awful.
Can you remind me, since it's been a month, why is Taz not sleeping, and does Kiara know about it?
I think Taz hasn't talked about why he's not sleeping to anybody. Oish knows that he hasn't been sleeping, or at least what didn't sleep.
Oish also does know what happened in the dream, but is being nice to you and keeping it to themselves.
Yeah. So you don't know why he's not sleeping, and I don't know if you know that he isn't sleeping. I mean, obviously he hasn't been sleeping now that you're seeing him like this.
You did ask about whether she had got a greater restoration, and also she's a trained cleric, so she's
so you can put together that he hasn't been sleeping, but you wouldn't know why.
Okay. So in that case, she will ask, have you properly slept since we were all in your mind?
I've gotten some sleep. I've gotten a little bit of sleep.
Like the amount your body needs?
He doesn't respond to that, which is an answer in and of itself.
Yeah. Taz, I know you have things you want and need to keep close to you, but if these things are haunting you in the night, you don't have to fight them alone.
He just kind of chuckles at that. You're gonna come in my dreams and protect me, Kiara. And not in like a mean way.
You don't know what I can do.
I'll start sleeping. I'll
Please do, because the other option is I start experimenting with sleeping drafts, and nobody wants that.
Oish kind of leans back because they've been eavesdropping on this conversation and says, he tried to get me to teach him to trance.
Oh no! Daz!
It just
Voice just
kind of
looks back at Taz's look of betrayal and winks.
It looks between the two. You're just like, no, I did get my hand on something that could help with the sleeping, so it's fine. It's fine.
Then, if we are going to a place that has supplies, maybe we can find something that can help with dreamless sleep. Just knock you out.
Or somebody could teach me how to trance.
Again, if you have 3 years of time and some kind of elemental plane that doesn't experience time in the same way ours does, I'm all but game to teach you. I could poke around in your mind a bit. See what's going on.
He just gives you a look of like, you know what's going on.
They are totally, and when you make that look, they say, no, I technically yes, but do you really know what's going on?
My mom has something
Genuine.
that she uses to stay awake.
Oh,
Eve is kind of eavesdropping.
We don't
interrupts
want
you
him
and then
staying
looks,
awake.
wow,
like,
that's
blushes
my
a little bit.
child.
Yeah, we
Sorry,
don't want
is
him
she-
staying
is
awake,
she
though.
eavesdropping?
Yeah.
Needs
Yeah, take a
dropping.
point of inspiration.
I think if Daz tries to stay awake any longer, he will actually die.
Right,
I've heard of it. It can happen.
but tell us what it is, just for our own edification. Just so normal.
I don't know all the ingredients. I just know that there is an alchemist that she had sometimes bought drafts from when she wanted to stay awake. Certain ingredients as well.
Was she herself when she was awake like this, or more like me falling asleep on a boat?
No, pretty awake. Definitely a little intense.
Speed. It's speed.
Yes.
Kara will look at Awaish, since Awaish is now a part of this conversation.
So sorry. I can duck back out.
No. I'm saying you did this to yourself.
Okay.
Not sorry. And just be like, have you ever studied brewing drafts and potions and such?
Yes. However, it is not my area of expertise. It came a little too
Yeah, I've
close to the
always been-
family business, I suppose.
Ah. I would have learned, but I wasn't in the temple long enough. So, but maybe
I
if
could always reach back and see if anyone in my family knows anything about it. That will have to wait until we can actually rest.
and if we can pick up any books that can teach us along the way, that might also be nice. Who knows what the next town holds?
One of the dwarves they're walking with you, just remarks that their family is known for doing some brewing, but they don't know how to make any kind of magical potions necessarily.
It's all alcohol.
I do have a set of brewer's tools if you want to mess around with them, but
I'm
The
gonna
more
change my
sober you
proficiency
get.
tonight.
the more sobering they get. A little more quiet, a little bit less singing, and starting to trade a little bit of more stories about their
Aw.
dead brother. So it's you overhear a few snippets of talking about how much he could drink, which seems to be a big part of And not necessarily that isn't the only thing they're talking about, but rather the incredible exploits of trading off. When I've had 3 pints, I can lift a boulder this size, but he, bless his name, could lift something that the 3 of us could not lift combined, and on only 1 pint of ale. So
That's so
fun
cute.
stories.
This brother was actually a Gaston, and roughly the size of a barge.
Dragon eggs for every breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
3
Hey.
dozen dragon eggs.
3 dozen eggs.
I'm
That's why
sorry,
they don't exist
dragon
anymore.
eggs. Dragon eggs here, huh?
Well, they're telling tall tales.
Mhm.
That's what I'm saying. Obviously.
Uh,
They're eggs
Uh,
laid by a chicken called Dragon. Dragon eggs.
Yes, wait.
is Laura talking to their brothers, or can I interrogate the orb?
Does not seem to be talking to their brothers, is kind of walking, maybe also eavesdropping a little bit on your conversation. Their brothers are kind of more in a pack, I would say. Laura
Mhm.
seems quite interested in your goats, actually.
Oh,
And just keeping stride pretty
Sure.
well for someone of shorter stature with these big furry
Yeah.
beasts.
we'll turn as they're kind of like looking at the creatures and eavesdropping on our conversation and say, "How about you? Does that sphere of yours help with any kind of brewing?"
No, unfortunately not.
So what does it do?
Rotates. And then spins it onto a finger.
Oh my god, they're a basketball star.
Is Laura Michael Jordan?
They're a
And then they dribble it.
star.
Come on,
Oh
it's
my
there.
god, they're so
And it
cool.
smashes.
They do
Just shatters.
I'll Awish gives them a little bit of a look and says, "I'll show you mine if you show me yours."
I feel like I've already met yours.
Have you been able to see the pages?
I would be interested in doing so. And then, kind of hesitantly, hands you this orb. As they do so, the moon shape, the sort of like crevices and indents and colors and textures that you see within it fade, and it becomes simply a hefty salt or glass, very smoothly polished ball that you're holding in your hands.
Hell yeah. I just want to kind of turn it and make an Arcana check.
You can
You
give me
need
an
to roll
Arcana
to
check.
ponder the orb.
Rolling to
ponder
ponder
the
orb.
Ponder the orb.
And I believe Laura will have to roll to decipher because everything in my book is in a code. But it looks
Oh, yeah.
real pretty.
So you're passing her Darren or one of your other spell books that you use?
Well, let me ask Darren how he feels about getting over there.
I don't spread
Do you
my
mind
pages
being
for
shown
anyone.
Well, show what you'd like.
Okay. He doesn't mind. Doesn't have any inherent suspicion towards this person. Considering the rest of your party has literally beaten you up and he's managed to be okay with them at this point.
He's
With
so
some
brave.
suspicion, I
He's
think
so brave.
Darren has become just as paranoid as you, but so far he has the same interest in magic users that you do. So
Yes, we're operating towards the same goal here. That's a 23 just for checking out the orb.
and that is a natural 20 over here.
Good job, Laura.
Excellent. So you have studied at a magical school, which means that you have some knowledge of different types of spellcasters. I would say that the inherent teachings of the world do not divide spellcasters as clearly delineated into like sorcerers and warlocks and bards as D&D classes do. There's more overlap in the teachings and in some of the like people of the world than is inherently in the rules of D&D. But you know enough to know that many people who are born with some kinds of magic do not always need to use a focus in the way that those who have trained with magic do, or those who take power from their focus or from someone who has gifted them that focus. So, looking over this orb, it is not inherently magical, and it doesn't seem like there's any kind of magical activation that you could do to cause it to elicit what Laura was having it elicit. With that, if you could give me a perception check as well, I can possibly tell you more.
Yeah. I might make some of my own conclusions from this, but see, that's a 15 and a 13. So the 13, that's a 19.
19, okay. You have not looked incredibly closely at Laura as a person. Obviously, you've examined enough to see if there are any major features. She's got this big red beard and kind of a hefty build, wearing armor. Looking at their hands as they are holding Darren, there are these very faint silver sigil runic imprints on their hands. When they're holding the orb, it seems to either reflect, perhaps magically, or maybe just by the nature of layers of glass and stone in it, to create a moon shape. So only when they are holding the orb, like if you, kind of like a reflection, almost, it causes the moon shape to appear. So not even sure if it is a focus, even.
Yeah, it kind of seems to be like a, again, we don't use class types, but it doesn't seem that maybe this person did as much book learning as a Waish did, is the conclusion that I'm taking from this.
That's the conclusion.
Yeah.
It
kind of
also
hums.
seems like a great diversion.
Yeah. Hums to themselves a little bit and then hands it back and says, wow, quite the interesting focus.
Thank you. Takes it back, has been looking through Darren. Now, sorcerers cannot necessarily learn spells from a book, but it does seem as though she has been able to look it through some of the notes or some of the spells that Darren has within him. Most of these are encoded in your own language, right? They're not just written out as spells.
Yeah.
Would you say that there are some magical runes, Susurrune runes, that represent spells that someone who's familiar with magical study might be able to understand?
I think that's what they would catch. And they're in strange and out of place places, but yeah, if you're familiar with Susurrune, you would at least be able to know what one of them would mean.
Okay. So, particularly points out, also makes comment, an interesting arrangement for a spell book. I'm not exactly sure how you parse it, but does point to, I think, probably some kind of representation of your dragon breath spell, and make the note of, seems as though you are quite familiar with a number of different kinds of magical energy.
One or two.
Interesting.
So were you born with those, or?
My family likes to say I was born under a certain light.
Wish takes the book back and turns away.
Okay. All right. You all continue through the first few hours of this day. And as it rises to about noon, you can see, cresting ahead of you, as the path winds its way upward, looks like a number of people who are traveling along this path as well. It opens up a little bit. You leave behind some of the trees. You can see mountains rising up before you. In an interesting sort of sense, the path that you're walking is more of a high point, and the ground slopes kind of down to the side of you. And at one point, as you finally crest through most of the scattered forest down here and see more of an empty expanse of boulders, you actually see it kind of drops off into a cliff on one side. And then continuing down from that cliff, there seems to be more of a sloping valley that leads down into further away, miles and miles, some kind of beach. So as you had requested, you were traveling kind of along the coast here. There's maybe a stretch of 20 or 30 miles of coastline that is just down along here.
Is this our beach episode? Everyone's got to have one.
It's not a particularly enjoyable beach. You are up on a cliff. So basically you've got road right here and then cliffside. And then beyond a gulch to your side, there is more land sloping down into a beach. And then ahead of you as well, between you and the mountains, there is kind of just open air and a massive, massive spanning bridge.
Another fucking bridge.
One you are quite familiar with, Matthias.
I was like, Kiara immediately starts looking around for Petra.
This one
Traumatized.
hopefully less burnable.
So traumatized.
Hopefully, we won't have as many problems at this one.
Yeah. It is...
Martin looks behind them like...
It is a notable and a very interesting sight because you have this this is a carved stone bridge. It doesn't fall over water, but over land. So like between the higher elevation where you guys are and this beach that kind of slopes around, there is land beneath it, and then you can kind of continue up into the mountains. Could I take a nature check from all of you guys?
Nature. Give me a nature.
with disadvantage.
Oh shit!
Always disadvantage,
Oh
baby.
my
I wish I
oh.
was. Oh fuck! I know. I rolled a 19
Damn
and
it.
then a
Did you?
6.
A 9.
You're a 9.
I rolled really well,
9.
and then I rolled poorly. I got a 7.
Wait,
11.
you would have advantage on this anyway, so you can take.
I'll
I just
take-
realized that because you've been here.
I'll take the first one then. That's a 19.
19.
Hell yeah!
Hey.
Anyone higher than a 19? No.
1 second.
With
Wait, if I have a
disadvantage
dot on
and
it,
0
it
brain
means
cells?
I have proficiency.
proficient.
Sorry, 1 second.
Stress.
God, sorry, it's been a while.
It's
no,
been a
I only got a
while.
9. Sorry.
Sarah, are you
It's been a
raising your
while.
hand or stretching? What's happening here?
Oh, I'm stretching. No
Okay.
worries. There's a thing here that I can lean my hand against. I'm just.
We could
Nice
probably make a
lean.
star if we all kind of lined up the right way.
You're so right.
I'm not doing this.
Oh, stop.
What angle I would have in the middle down here?
Oh no!
But yeah.
I'm not sure if you're able to do so, Sloan, but if you have if you can do it in the next few minutes, you would be welcome to pull up the map that you made, which is in our campaign materials.
Oh
to show
shit! I can try and find it. I don't know if I'll be able to, but let me go looking for it. It's fucking huge. So
Yeah.
let me
Is
go
it homemade or Sloan
look
made?
for it. It is Sloan made. Let me. I think that we have it in Strange Hungers, if I'm
You do.
not
Yeah.
mistaken.
I think
It
it's
is.
campaign materials.
Strongies?
It's in campaign materials.
Campaign materials. I might be able to actually. I'm downloading my own map. I think this is the most up to date one. Everybody, cross your fingers.
Yeah.
Hell yeah!
I know there's some like spelling that I have to still get you like fixes on, but it looks fucking amazing and it's pretty great. So.
I
It's
make
super hot.
maps sometimes, documents. We're just gonna. Where would you like this to go? What are we looking at here?
I want to put it between all of us so we can look
Yeah.
at the
Nice.
side of it. I'm gonna just explain a little bit, show off a little bit.
I will absolutely do that. Give me one moment, please.
While you're doing that, I will let you guys
Yeah.
know what the nature check was for.
I was
give you
gonna
the
ask
heads
if
up.
we want to take a bio.
Oh, vibe.
Actually, you know what? Is that okay, Sloan? Do you want to put us to the
Oh,
pause screen while we get all set up?
if
and
people
take a
need to,
bio
yeah, if people need to take a break, that's totally fine.
I
Yeah.
love.
Let's do that. Then we can come back
Okay.
as we approach the pass.
Be right back
We are
as we
Alright.
approach the pass.
Be right back.
snack break by a break, and
Goodbye.
we'll see you back in 5.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome back once again to Strange Hungers. We have here before us a lovely map, courtesy of our incredible producer, Sloan.
I like this one better.
Sloan has
Here we go.
zoomed in for all of us very, very nicely on Valkyrie up here. We can see the Stone Serpent that you guys have traveled by, the Fierce Pass, and the Gale Peaks ahead of you, within which reside the Order of Black Ice. Now, with that nature check, as you guys crest up onto this ridge and you see over at this bridge, this massive stone bridge stretching out over a part of the land below you, the cliff and then the beaches sloping off down to the side, the snow-covered, barren, hard, packed dirt. Not really beach sand, per se, but dirt beaches stretching down. To most of you, it seems that there is some kind of storm that is brewing immediately to your right as you are looking towards them. Matthias, you are very familiar with this apparition of rains and clouds that is swirling over the water far away past the beaches down. What you see is an ever-present storm that hovers over a massive, massive vortex of water known as Deep Sink. Rumors abound about Deep Sink, that it is a place where all the treasures of the world eventually make their way into. If they fall into the ocean, at some point they will sink into Deep Sink. That those who sail into this vortex never return, that it is an opening to the elemental plane of water that connects this world. It is the birthplace of all the oceans upon the surface of Neum. But what you know is that it is the reason that many do not cross the Kvekdal Ocean between Skyhome and Valkyrie anywhere close to the coast of Valkyrie, because the pull of Deep Sink is so strong that even if you are drifting silently midnight halfway across the ocean, you can wake up on the edge of that vortex. Its currents and pulls can dramatically increase at times, to the point that massive parts of the Kvekdal simply become unfishable because the spin of the vortex is so strong that even whales will just be pulled into it.
Come unfishable.
Kind of like a big kraken, just pulling things into it. I think there's probably maps that are illustrated like that.
Yeah.
Like personifying it as a creature, a creature.
Very
it's
much
really
so.
just this like
I mean,
natural
no one knows what's in the middle of it.
aberration. Looking out towards that, he'll point it out and like maybe give a couple of fun facts as they're passing
I
by.
love a fun fact.
Dad giving us fun facts along the trip. Yes.
But yeah, it looks so
listening,
dramatic as you're going.
It is
as we like
The
crest the
arsehole
top
of the ocean.
think
This
it's a
big
little-
bird of the seas.
It's a little more
would
dangerous
think
than an
more like-
asshole.
You know when you lose things at the back of the sofa? You know, you find everything seems to end up there. It's like the sofa crack of the ocean.
Yeah.
But I'm just like being philosophical, like, that doesn't sound as cool.
So, you know,
And
don't go near it.
Have you heard of it, Oesh?
Waste stuff is sticky.
Waste stuff is
I
sticky.
can roll for it, but
Or give me a history check. You still have disadvantage, but the DC is
yeah.
12.
You
I
spent
don't
time on
think
the
that
ocean, right?
I don't think I recognized it. Oh yeah, but that's true. There might have been like stories. Okay, history. It's a +8. Just have to roll above a 4. Yeah. Okay. 20.
Okay, 20. It is not there are plenty of similar legends, but this deep sink is not the most significant one to your culture and the Perillian Ocean. You would probably be more familiar with the Everstorm, which is a constantly brewing storm off of the coast of Nizande that makes it hard to travel to parts of Nizande. So you certainly heard, like, very briefly of Deep Sink, but you wouldn't have pictured it like a storm. You might have pictured it more as just a whirlpool, like a big whirlpool by the wastes.
It's definitely different than I pictured it.
I like to say that after Barden made that joke, Taz kind of leaned in. So he was like being quiet and says, very clearly, playfully, but so exhausted still, any stories that are funnier than that?
I mean, wait, sorry, I lost the context for that.
Is joking, wondering if there's like other stories that could tell a better joke than the sofa crack of the.
I mean, probably a bunch. Thank you. Look, we're all kind of, we're all tired. Like, she's teasing him back. I think she kind of like pulls back so she can walk alongside the goat a little bit, keeping her body a little bit away from the goat because she doesn't quite trust it. But I think she puts her hand on Taz's like nape if she can get it and just squeezes it like, yeah, but you could do better.
He's kind of just
He's slumped over the goat.
I thought he was out. I thought he was something.
I was making the face because grabbing the nape of the neck is unapologetically horny.
I'm really tired, so I don't think I could right now.
Oh, we'll have to. I'll make sure to remind you to tell me a better joke. She's just like, she's tired, but she's beaming at him as much as she can. She's just happy to have him joking with her. Like, she gives his nape another like gentle, like when you're massaging someone's neck, like little squeeze.
Yeah.
Like just a little like that, and then just pats his back, and is like, we'll work out funnier things on the way. How about that?
Wow,
You okay?
thank you to the dinner and a game. That's why I'm here too.
I look over at Kiara. What's Kiara doing? Just looking, or what's?
Yeah, Kiara has. I'm trying to think if Kiara has really had the chance to be at a real beach this way. Not often. So is because where she's from, there's lakes and such, but she comes from pretty far inland. So this is the idea of water that doesn't end is still a foreign concept to her. So I think Kiara's just she's probably off the goat now, feet looking, staring.
Not a lot of ocean storms in Azure.
Nope. I think she's kind of just lost in thought. She's tired, so she's quiet.
Angoish will approach Kiara, if that's okay, seeing her lost in thought. And just joins you for a moment, looking out. And then glances at you and says, "Unfamiliar?"
Yeah. The part of the world I come from is such a small part of it, but it has always felt so enormous. I forget there's so much else out there.
Well, some things are meant to be explored and some things aren't.
What I told myself when I joined up. I wanted to see the world.
Is it everything you hoped it was?
Get that, Kiara turns to Oation says. Yes.
Stunning.
Does make me wonder how much else is out there that we haven't even seen yet.
Things beyond our imagination or understanding. Have no doubt.
Comforting thought.
What will you do when you encounter something like that?
Well, what I've been doing so far. Try to learn about it. Try to understand it.
I'm
Matthias
fucking exhausted.
Matthias shifts around, is gonna look towards the mountains. How's it looking up ahead of us?
There's kind of a backed up line, I would say. The breadth of this bridge is about 100 feet wide. It's massive. It's like a highway, bigger than a highway, I would say. And there's kind of lanes that are drawn out across it with ropes that are strung and between stone pillars. So you see like steadily moving traffic. It's not a very populated traffic, but it is moving very slowly. Most of what you see are traders and travelers who are stocked up with livestock, warm clothing, tents, things like this. Mostly hunters is what you would assume, because there are a number of hides, materials for that kind of thing. You see bows and arrows, etc. Looking about, I think your probably first thought, Matthias, would be to look for other order members. Just on the first few rows, you don't see any pieces of armor or sigils. There could be others that are further down the line. If you take some time as you're just waiting here to cross, you might see some familiar faces.
How many
unsure as of right now.
How many days until we reach the order? Because my understanding was there was a little bit of time between the closest town and the order. A little bit of mountain travel.
Definitely. Between crossing the pass and going into the Gale Peaks, you have about a week, I would say, of travel.
God.
You've pushed it before, but you know the specific way to the order. Once you get up into the mountains, there are certain landmarks that the order has placed to help new recruits make their way to it. Not that would be inherently obvious. They're not like big beacons or anything. So you estimate, having reached the pass, that you could make it, if you really push yourselves, to the door of the Order of Black Ice within a week and a half.
Okay. Matthias is going to turn to the rest of the party as he's looking out towards the mountains. Turns back around and is just going to address everyone. And says, travel has been difficult. We're about to move into even more considerations, let's call them. The mountain passes they introduce new problems. So there's no reason to push it. We have about a week more of travel, maybe, give or take. I say we pass the bridge and then find a spot that's well populated that we can stay before we head off again. I think that all of us could use a nice place to rest. Tries not to look at Tazriel.
He's asleep on the goat right now, so.
Oh, then he looks openly.
I'm feeling pretty well rested if you want me to do any scouting or anything.
Is that Neve? He looks at Awaish.
Wow. How does Neve feel about
that
that?
right now?
They're making
You
that
can
like
tell that you can tell that they're holding back words, but they cannot hold back their face.
it's a very
let me ask your dad if you can come out.
Yeah.
he does like a very quick like look at Awaish and then look back at Neve, and it says stay within eyesight of the group, and I think that should be fine.
Okay. Neve doesn't dart off through the crowd, but just starts to converse with some of the people who are waiting in line.
Oh yeah, gonna do some scouting. I want to go talk
Scouting
to
the people.
Well, yeah, she's very curious, and there are many strangers here. Many strangers of a variety of different kinds of appearances. You note that a lot of people in the Waste tend to protect their faces, their ears from the cold. So there is kind of a culture of, I would say, like headscarves, balaclavas. I think that's what they're called. Baklava.
Balaclavas.
Baklava is the
Baklava is the
dessert.
food.
Balaclavas.
There's just a couple
I
extra
love the
letters.
tradition of baklava.
Yeah. They're just covered in pastry. Balaclavas and gloves. So it's hard to make out a lot about people, but mostly the attitude is boredom. This is a very open bridge, and I would say there's most likely not a law inherently, but if you start attacking people on the bridge, you're getting thrown off of it.
Yeah.
It's a dick here.
Mhm.
Wait, sorry. There's clarification. Like you can't cross it, or like thrown off of it.
That's not a deal.
No,
I guess.
you're gonna get yeeted.
It's a big drop, too. The edge of the bridge that you are stepping onto and approaching blends fairly seamlessly in with the rest of the cliff, almost as if it was first hollowed out. Like the foundation, the thick bones of this cliff here. As it stretches towards the other end, it looks as though, interestingly enough, the far pillars, as they're set into the mountains over this long, maybe 2-mile long stretch of bridge, come down into thick legs of stone that are standing in the mountain. There's no top half, it's just the bridge, but the carved appearance of it is almost as if a figure bent down, like was standing across the pass, and bent down and stretched their arms out to grab the stones on the other hand, and then became a bridge.
That's hot.
Baden is gonna look to Vice and just be like, do you know who was carving all these things? There was the giant snake, and now that kind of looks like a guy or someone holding this thing up. Is it that they were real and they got turned into stone? Because that is also very interesting.
Plenty of stories. But as Matthias has mentioned, the dangers grow a little bit larger once you pass into the waste themselves. This is an area known historically for having a giant population, so plenty of rumors come from that.
Are there so there are giants or giant folk that live here? By any chance?
Giants, giant kin, many might call them stone kin or mountain kin.
I mean, I know why not. I grew up with stonekin, so for a bulk,
Yes.
so that'd be nice. That would be great. My dad would love to see this. My grandmother is very big.
Here.
Like she definitely has the stone blood. Is the mound blood is amazing. But not that big.
My matriarch was shorter than me, but that kind of runs in the family.
I mean, must be kind of satisfying.
Height is not as important in the Astley.
Well.
More how well you can ride a worm.
I suppose if you're lower to the ground, it gives you more, gravity, I feel like you
it's kind of all about the thigh grip, you know. That's where you want the strength.
Barton's
So
gonna
do
go into
math.
a conversation about riding. Yeah. Barton is
didn't
gonna go
understand
into
a word that
conversation
anyone
about...
just said.
Okay. Who wants
Yes,
to go?
no, see,
Go ahead,
Shane, what were you saying?
I was just saying Barton will go into a conversation about worm riding because she remember Feverfew did that, and now she's actually meeting someone who's done it, and now she's just very curious.
It's kind of a different worm, I would say. I mean, I don't know a lot about Feverfew. I'm sure you are probably more of an expert than I am in these matters, but the word worm, when it comes to where I am from, can refer to a number of distinct creatures. Some of them not really worm-like at all.
I did nothing.
You just did like a bunch of little eyes. I love it.
Kiara's making motions.
Kara's
I'm
like,
trying to
riding a worm.
I also
Ride
like
a cowboy.
worm
I kind
riding.
of urge Arav on a bit and look back and say, not that this bridge isn't very exciting, but we do have guards chasing us a bit.
Yeah, let's press onward.
Can we cut ahead a little bit? Would that make you mad?
Yeah, I thought we were doing this while we were walking.
Yes,
Wait,
this is a walk-in talk.
Oh, hell yeah.
You've come up to the back of one of the lines, and your group has gathered at one of the... There are 4 lanes. Pick a lane.
Middle lane. Middle right.
There are 4
4
lanes. Okay.
Middle right!
I was gonna say roll a die.
Alright.
Who are
Lane
we
3.
behind?
Very important information. You are behind 2, perhaps, brothers. Human of very pale skin. Like, they don't get out a lot. Kind of bleached. You can't see a lot of it, again, because they've got hoods up and their faces are covered. But they are pulling almost a smaller version of your sled, but not a deep set sled. More like a, actual curved front, flat back sled that is piled with a number of furs, skins, and both of them seem to have pretty well laden packs of tools, materials, bulky, fairly quiet, just kind of waiting. But I wouldn't say the furs that they seem to have are of the highest quality. Doesn't look like they're incredibly talented at what they are doing.
A fur is a fur.
Yoink.
A lot
I
of
just
fur
remember
traders.
that we still have that owl bear pelt.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Also,
wait,
sometimes
where
people
did-
are
where
just
did-
little
Where
guys.
did the owlbear bones go? Where did your steed go?
Didn't we sell the pelt? Thought we sold it.
You might have.
I don't think so. I
sold
think
it
it's still-
there.
We can call it Schrodinger's pelt. We'll just figure it out
Yeah.
whether we need it or not. But
No worries.
Beast is not needed right now, so he's
Oh, it would
Yeah.
just come as and when. Tight. Okay.
yeah.
You don't know where those bones went. They kind of just got absorbed into whatever
In the
happened. I
earth.
think Beast just probably wandered off, and then
Oh.
I really
Alright,
enjoy
fine,
giving
characters.
Matthias things that are just named for what they are. I think it's his culture.
Very good omen.
If Matty
It's-
got a dog, it'd be dog.
Yes,
Why
it's-
isn't Matthias called Lad? I ask myself this question every day.
Lad.
No, he's dad.
Wow.
He's dad, remember?
Oh,
He's
not for
dad.
little lad.
Sadly.
I know.
dad.
Lad dad. How long does it take us to fucking cross this bridge? How stuck
It's
are we
slow
behind these
going.
folks?
This is
Ugh.
the bridge
Not
from
a
hell.
lot of people. Well, as you picked wrong, because it seems like lanes 1
You're
and
so
4
rude.
are moving.
I gave you a
Fuck
shot.
you.
Oh, and then if we
mother-
move to 1 and 4, suddenly they'll get slower. And yeah,
Ooh, you
well, I know how this
motherfucker.
game works.
Well, once you pick a lane, there's ropes and columns and stuff that keep you very strictly in your lane. You can't cross between them very easily because you've got all the cattle and stuff. 1 and 4 are kind of moving. 2 and 3 do not seem to be moving. As you slowly approach, there's some kind of large shape that's about 1/4 of the way across the bridge that is in front of lanes 2 and 3.
What is What is
And
happening?
it seems like there's like a traffic jam that's happening where the 2 lanes at the front
Okay.
are going around this huge shape that's just on the bridge.
All right, we gotta go fix
Guys,
that.
I might just go see. I'm gonna go see what this is.
Don't judge in
Does
line.
Does Neve know what's going on? Didn't she go on ahead?
Neve comes back and she has acquired somehow a bunch of little ice crystals that are melting in her hands.
Good lord.
Oh, she's so cute.
Did you get business cards?
Yeah, actually, there's this ice carver who said that these were she's got a small business. It's on Icy. Apparently there's some kind of mage group.
I'll kill you.
Do you know did you see what's going on up there, Neve?
Oh, no. Do you want me to go check it out?
Yes, please. Please.
Okay. She goes off again. You're waiting. You're waiting. The dwarves start singing again.
Taz wakes up at that.
Wow.
Arden's gonna join in the singing. It's gonna work out
I
how
think it's like
there's probably a harmony going on.
one dwarf in line on the bridge, 2 dwarfs in line on the like something like that, where they're
my
just
God.
counting.
Kiara wants to come up to Matthias. What does he look like? Like, is he panicking? Is he mildly panicking? Is he okay?
He looks irritated. He looks
He's annoyed at his choice.
He's not having a great time. He doesn't necessarily want to be stuck on a bridge, and he also keeps looking backwards. And frustrated because I, Sloan, chose the bridge lane because I didn't think it fucking mattered. I just chose a fucking lane. So he looks like irritated.
Matthias facing the worst thing you can face in any game, which is realistic lines.
Accused.
Terrible. Terrible.
Yeah, Kiara is gonna come up and say, "When was the last time you were around this many people?"
In the city.
A lot
Usually
of people.
this doesn't happen very much, and honestly I should have figured that something was going on, and I didn't think about it because I was too busy thinking about what we left behind. There's a lot happening.
There is, and well, you're from here, right? Like you said, dangers are more up ahead than on the bridge itself. I think we're all a little traumatized from the last time we were on a bridge and being caught unawares, but hey, this time we're all prepared.
That's true.
And stronger than we were.
That is also true. The stronger part I think is unequivocally a good thing. The fear and awareness all the time that's how I live, and I want, usually when I'm with a group I encourage that kind of thing, but he looks towards Barden and is like, for some reason this time around it's a little more difficult. The always being on edge. Not for me, but I don't know.
It sucks, but it also does suck for you, Matthias. Just because you're used to it does not make it any less terrible. You deserve to feel safe just as much as anyone else does. Have you... Well, the last time Kiara was around Matthias, when he was sleeping, he stabbed a tent. So
Yep.
that's just a
Did me.
reminder for the folks in the chat because it's been a long time. So she will ask, oftentimes sleep is the only escape from the stressors of life, but Has it been one for you?
I don't usually stab things in my sleep. It's not a common occurrence. That was an outlier for the most part.
So things have been better since then. Like last night.
I don't know, Kiara. Things have been fine. When we get back to the Order, I will feel better.
Feel safe?
Better. And, maybe if you want to talk more about it, we can talk more about it then.
Yeah. I know Taz is the most visibly affected, but I do think all of this is taking its toll on everyone, including you, and we need to make sure everyone doing the best we can. We move at all?
Neve comes back to the group
We are so close to each other.
and looks visibly nauseated
Uh-oh.
Oops.
Oh.
and goes, "That is the grossest thing I've ever seen in my life.
What happened?
There's some kind of steaming pile of like meat and flesh just in the middle of the bridge, and people are trying to go around it, and it smells so bad, and there are these huge bugs crawling all over it."
Oh god.
All right.
Is that something that happens here, Matthias?
Random meats.
I mean, there was a rock. There was a rock on the last ship we were on. It could have dropped something. I don't know. There are giant things here.
It's surprising that it hasn't been eaten yet, really.
Commonplace. Perhaps not necessarily, but weird things happen here all the time. So, surprising? Not entirely. We should do something about that, I think.
On that note, I have a question for our DM, but also for
Yes.
Neve. Kiara will ask Neve how big this pile is.
It stretches across 2 lanes, and this is an 100-foot wide bridge, so it's about 50 feet of a
50
pile of meat.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah. Purify food and water will help that shit. Sorry,
Yeah.
y'all. That's got a 5 foot of stuff.
Well, I don't exactly want to wade my way through all these people to get to the issue, so who wants a bit more of an expeditious path?
Please.
I'll
Taz,
I will-
you're staying.
I'm
perhaps an order
Above
member.
table. Yeah, above table, I can cast on myself and then 2 other people. So who wants to fly?
I can push my way through.
All right. Tazriel. Now, Tazriel, you did get a chance last time, so if there's preference to others, I
that's
would
fair.
like to give some others a ride on the ride.
That's actually fair.
I want to learn how. I want
Bad
to
and
feel what
slow.
it's like to fly.
Right. Okay.
Yes,
Oish casts fly on themselves with their Cloudwalker ability. And you watch as their hair reverses polarity, and they say, "Now, this might feel strange," and casts it on Kiara and Barden, and you feel not like ooh, I could like float through the air. It's like physically for a moment, it feels like the world shifts upside down and you have to like reorient yourself. It's a little sickening. Yeah.
I think before they do
Kiara-
that, I think Barden does grab Kiara's hand.
Yeah, Kiara's
We're
like
going.
clutched onto Barton's hand.
The
Okay.
the Laura's siblings say, "We can watch your cart for you. That's fine." They seem to have gotten another round from somewhere. Some folks that
Amazing.
are
How do they
in
do
line
that?
here.
And Vice is staying?
I can stay, I suppose, but let me know if you need me.
Mm.
And Laura also begins to hover.
Oh.
Show off.
There's not really any effect that happens visibly. It's just kind of
Mhm.
a holding or begins to
Yeah.
hover up.
Yeah.
I think
Hop around the old.
Awaish, I'm going to say that your concentration, you're using one concentration for all of those flies, if that's okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Great.
And Matthias
Yeah,
stands up as
so
tall as he
stay-
possibly can and is going to stride forward. He's going to try and beefcake his way through this crowd.
Oh, yeah.
Taz is right alongside Matthias doing that.
I will also say, everyone who's flying, stay in an area where if you fall, you will fall onto the bridge.
I think Barden doesn't go too high at first and just is practicing walking like a couple of feet above people's heads. Just curious.
There are some notable, like, murmurs of discontent where people start going, "Hey, get down from there! You know, there's a line."
We're not. We're not.
We're
gonna
not
start
cutting.
that
We're
thing
just
out.
trying to help.
Matthias, will
Unless you
give
want to
me-
keep walking around this big pile of something.
What? Matthias, could you give
Thank
me
you.
either a persuasion or intimidation with advantage because of your background feature?
Fuck yeah. Is this
Because
flat?
of your back.
Don't cut.
Of all the traps.
That would be flat.
Yeah.
Background feature of big boy.
Background feature horror in my eyes.
That is a 12.
A 12. Okay.
I rolled
You-
a 5.
That's pretty good. You manage to push your way through a little bit slower, and you have to keep flashing your order badge. People are like, "Oh, finally they show up to take care of it." When you push your way closer, you actually see that there is another member of your order who is there standing in front of the pile of meat. Who is it, Matthias?
Oh, wow. Oh my god, wait, I have like an entire list of order people, and if I knew I was going to be meeting someone here, I would have pulled it up. There is a member of the order. Oh, this is great. Do you want it to be somebody who's a shitlord, or do you want it to be someone who's cool?
Probably more of a shitlord. More on the shitlord side, I will say.
Do it.
Do you want to be the shitlord?
Probably not the shitlord.
Okay.
Amazing.
Then I will find somebody who is adjacent. I don't know. I feel like this guy. Do you remember the guy that I told you about that I had a lot of friction with?
Yeah.
Why don't we do him?
Okay. Remind me of his
Okay. So there is a figure up ahead. Oh my god. Let me like look for this shit. Can somebody else talk about what you're doing so that I can find this? Because I need to find
Yes,
the
yes, yes.
reference before I go into it. Let me find my
Sure.
reference.
As we're flying over, I'll look for rich fucks.
Give me a rich fuck check.
Yeah.
Yes.
Perception, because
Are we
you're not-
stealing on this?
Perception,
Brad.
great. We
With
might be.
with-
We might be stealing. We'll see what happens.
Mm.
Oh. We might not be
We're
stealing.
dropping things on them. We'll see.
That's a 9.
Okay. Because everyone is covered in clothing and like dark clothing to protect themselves, the most valuable things that you see amongst people here just seem to be really protective clothing. Like there are a few people with really nice furs and they've got like different tone colors going up the arm, and they have a bit of a nicer cart that seems maybe hand carved, or like really big, thick, kind of almost like long, furry horses that seem very well adapted to the climate, but no one is flashing or displaying wealth in a way that you're more familiar with back on the continent of Senelji.
And
Oh.
friend for Ara?
I've got it. Changed my mind again. Alex, I'm gonna send you the one that I want to do.
Hell yeah.
But certainly I think people would be concealing valuables, so you get a sense of the ones who are the wealthiest are probably the ones who carry the most weaponry as you're looking at the crowd. No excellent targets right now, and people seem pretty wary because they're in a group.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it's... You don't want to steal from a rich person with a lot of weapons unless you also have a lot of weapons, which technically we do, but I don't have a lot of buy-in from my group vis-a-vis stealing. So,
yeah.
Unfortunately.
The one guy who is it?
Excuse me, you've never asked.
Yeah.
See?
Okay, perfect. Thank you, son. So as you float over and land by this steaming, terrible smelling, rotten pile of meat and flesh, just seems to be splattered with gore across this bridge. Parts of it are half frozen, but still steaming, so you see frost just gathering on thick, dark muscle, off-color, grayish, squishy-looking internal organs of some kind that just splay out of massive size and shape, coils of intestines and almost tentacle-like elements of flesh, but that don't seem to be blue or purple or red, almost just a pale and colorless fleshy material that spills out in a heaving lump across the mass of this bridge. You can tell why people are moving so slowly trying to get around it, because the four lines are squished very, very slowly against the edge here. Many people are picking their way through where there's just more splatterings of mysterious oils and biles and blood that is spilling across the rest of the bridge. It seems to be half melting and kind of leaking everywhere. People are wringing their clothes and boots out. There are some people who are trying to kind of shovel it back towards the center. It's almost like that art display where the more that you shovel, it just kind of spills back out.
Yeah.
As you do. This is biohazard central.
Just can't help myself.
Aw, man. I thought it would be sexy tentacles for VJ.
Standing in
I
front
saw
of it.
Vic's face as soon as
I
you
saw the
said
face. Oh! Always wanting to kiss a mind flayer.
We have not dressed in the same armor as Matthias, but rather more of a, I would say, lighter outfit of it. Again, head scarf up, black, pretty neutral, but this kind of shiny, darker black armor with a pinned white lotus sigil just over the shoulders and covering like, sort of the top of the chest or breast area. An almost deep black skin person whose skin matches the color of the black clothing that they're wearing, with a few of these white veiny cracks that are kind of running over the face and over a shaved head that prickles with ice crystals and frost over top of it. You can just kind of see it under the hairline. Also is wearing a set of bulging, thick goggles or glasses that are almost faceted, like set with these big facets. Matthias, as you are pushing through the crowd, you finally see a very familiar face to you, a high-ranking member of the Order of Black Ice who seems to be trying to direct some of the people who are shoveling this terrible pile of meat, staying very much, as much as they can, towards the edges on the left and the right, because she seems to be facing off right now with some kind of cluster of moving material on the front of this pile, just standing, waiting with at least 2 weapons strapped to her back, and another, almost like a poker, like a campfire poker that is sizzling in the cold air.
I know that there's gotta be like a salute or a greeting that they do. I'm gonna go with like the typical like hit the chest kind of like situation when they like greet each other. He's going to come up behind her and try to like get her attention. Is she like fully focused on what's going on, or can he kind of like catch her eyesight as he's coming up?
She's pretty focused as you approach behind. She says, "Please stand back. We've got a bit of a situation here, as you can see." And then kind of turns over her shoulder.
And he will like put his fist to his chest and say, "We're here to help if we can."
Valerian.
This is the group that I'm traveling with, and he turns and will gesture to everybody else and will hold a hand out to the Ganassi next to him and say, "This is the Obsidian Heath, another member of the Order of the Black Eyes."
Obsidian Heath?
Obsidian Heath.
Heath.
She kind of looks like marble, black marble, with these big old glasses, goggles.
Fire Knight Tazriel.
Gosh.
Interesting. Fire Knight being here, but I'm assuming that has to do with your mission, Valerian.
Say that again. My audio cut out for a second. It's been doing that.
Interesting to see a Fire Knight here, but I'm assuming that has to do with your mission, Valerian.
It does. We're traveling with the Scarlet Aster, but she is watching the rest of our group.
Her nostrils flare a little bit at the mention of Aster.
Is there something that we can do to be of service here?
Certainly. The Heath introduces herself to the rest of you as you alight, Laura kind of landing as well. Many of the folks that are going around have given the front area in front of this pile a wide margin. There is just a bad scented oil viscous liquid that is pooling within the stones of the bridge. Unfortunately, you can tell that the Heath has already gotten a bunch of this on her, and it is not the most pleasant introduction to make to someone because she smells fucking terrible. But she does salute all of you or introduce herself very tersely.
Where did this come from?
No
Was it
reports
frozen?
as of late.
Was it frozen first, or did it become frozen? Is it still alive? There's steam.
Well, the pile itself does not seem to be alive, but what is within it has been troubling us.
Please explain.
I want to give a big CW for bugs. Everyone's cool.
I love bugs.
Got a bunch of bugs in here.
I love bugs.
Okay. Let me know. Let me know if you're feeling uncomfortable with any of my descriptions, because this is a pretty gross sight, and I can always tone it down. There's some kind of nest of insectoid creatures that seem to have gotten to this meat before we did, laid something within it, and more of them just keep crawling out. We've managed to keep them at bay for now, but I have no idea how many more of them have laid their way inside it, and I haven't been able to requisition a disposal crew to come in enough time. There should be more of our order on their way here right now, but unfortunately some storm disruptions, apparently a roving horde of gnolls have been plaguing the area, both on this side of the bridge and the other, and so we've had a little bit of difficulty.
Yes, I believe we've run into those same gnolls. Is this a relocation project or an extermination project?
Destroy, remove, whatever we can do. This kind of flesh is going to draw all manner of creatures to the bridge, and we don't want to lose the pass.
Do you know what could have been so big to make this amount of flesh?
There have been reports
An
of
owlbear?
some kind of grand creature that passed over the bridge at one point and either dropped this here, left it here.
Turns to like whoever that she said that something could have been dropped and was like, see? but back to it, just like, oh. that makes sense.
Laura kind of smiles at you.
Are there
Well-
any of the insects that have crawled out and been killed around that I can see?
Yes.
I wanna go
A
see.
number of them, actually. Now,
Can
if
I-
you
can I
guys
go
do
see?
not want to get terrible meat set on you, let me know ahead of time. This is a nasty, smelly location, and you have to make a check to avoid it. All right.
I would like not that, please.
I'm good. Let me get nasty.
Okay. Kiara.
Just because it's
you
meat.
give me,
If it was other scents, it'd be fine.
Dexterity saving throw from Kiara. And Tazra, do you want one as well?
Yes. Be a
These are saving throws, so
disadvantage.
you don't have disadvantage. Unless, Taz does, but...
Is there any advantage to being floaty?
Yes,
I was gonna
actually.
say
you can have an advantage
flying.
if you're flying.
Oh, okay, I'll roll for that then. I mean, I don't necessarily want to be Rose. but
16.
I'll definitely
18.
roll.
16. Okay, the DC is 10
Sweet.
because it's not
Dexterity
actively...
saving throw, yeah?
Yeah, dexterity
gross.
saving throw DC 10. All right. Oh wait, you get gross.
Thank you.
I get gross.
I got 19. I'm the wind.
Neve had kind of pushed through in your path, Matthias. Seems about to lose it, so she goes back with Vice because the smell is not something that
Oh.
she's ever been used to.
It's
Rotten
bad.
fish on the seashore, fine. But this is
I lean down to Neve before she turns around and say, tell Vice that Heath is here.
will do. She steps back. The bug that you're looking at, I actually have a picture, which is
Oh,
I don't
A picture.
I don't
Ice
a picture.
Oh.
Ice bug.
Pull out a little bit.
It's a tick.
It's a
Oh, it's
Wait,
a giant tick.
I'm not. Oh, the bug's on the back. Got it. Oh, that's hateful. Oh, that's hateful.
What's that from?
How
Hey,
dare you.
Alex, I'm in hell. You transported me straight to the
bad.
9th circle of hell. What the fuck is wrong with you?
mega disease.
Shout out to D&D for giving me a pre-copy of Big B's Glory of the Giants. 'cause
Hey!
I'm gonna use it to fuck with all of you.
As you should.
Fucking sucks. Okay,
But-
Matthias has his sword drawn fully. If he's not gonna cut off pieces of meat to like huck over the side, he's gonna use this to stab a big bug.
right. Before we get into any violence, which does seem like it might be the case, we may be able to move the entire thing off of the bridge before we engage. Possibly.
It's a possibility.
Depending on how heavy it is.
It would be too heavy for a single tensor's disc.
Yeah, I can hold 500 pounds.
We could do it.
So
We could just
maybe
do it
half
that
and then
bit.
half.
Yeah, you could try breaking it up into sections and
Around.
moving it. It's definitely a nasty job, but you could try.
What we're seeing though is that as people disturb it, these bugs come out.
So we'd have a
So,
fight on our hands.
If folks
either
would like
way.
to have at it, I think it's a great idea. But I'd like to be prepared for when something jumps out and tries to eat someone's face.
Yeah, Shen? You were examining the bugs?
Would I still be able to investigate or
Yeah.
use nature check on the bug?
Give me nature.
I don't
or-
know. I could have stories of these from when I was a kid, from my
Yeah.
relatives. I don't know. What would you like me to roll? A nature?
Nature or... I think nature. Yeah.
Makes sense. Oh, that was only a 13. Blah.
This... You don't have any inherent stories or things about this, looking at some of these dead bugs, they're kind of like big, deflated black
Like,
sacks. Some of them do seem to have wings. Not all of them do. They like folded material. I would say there's a combination of gigantic ticks and more gigantic mosquito-like bugs that,
oh,
and they are massive, right? Like one of the smaller ones is
Right.
about the side of your head. Some of the bigger ones are like, 5 football-y shapes kind of smushed together. They seem to kind of burst as they've been killed, so you don't get a terribly good sense of their anatomy, but the debris around them is just as disgusting as the meat they are coming from.
okay, cool. Thank you. I just wanted to see.
The monster stat block defines these as medium size, FYI. And you guys are medium size, so
Christ. That's upsetting.
They- So are we cutting away the meat, getting rid of it over their side, and just working as we go?
I think that's a good
I
idea.
mean, unless looking to Kiara, just like fire.
On a bridge?
I mean, it's a stone bridge. It's carved of stone.
I'm worried about.
I'm obviously not.
I would worry
no worries,
people would
just-
stampede or panic or
Oh,
something.
I mean, we warn people, but makes sense. I just quicker.
I also fear for the reaction that could happen if this amount of material is dumped beneath the bridge. There are still people who live down on the beaches, as well as other travelers, and we might be looking at some kind of horde or stampede that still attracts attention to this area. I know we could transport some amount of this to a destruction site to get rid of it, and then burning might be of assistance. My initial thought is, and then the heath, she points to the storm.
We'd have to go back.
Nice.
So
If we can get it off the bridge and down the beaches into the water.
We need a way to transport it.
I think
Alicia, I know
that's
that you
ways.
have. I know that you have a method of transporting it, but I think relying just on one person would slow us down, and we're in a bit of a. We're moving at a clip, so.
Laura chimes in and says, I might be able to help with some of the transportation, but you would have to cover both. Wish, you've given Laura your name, right?
Mhm.
Okay. You would have to cover both Awash and I as we do so.
Are there any other people here who could provide assistance with transporting some of this carcass? He, yells out to the crowd.
The people who are holding their noses as they pass by turn away from you.
Babies. All right.
This is a crowd mentality thing. You're gonna have to call people out specifically if you want them to help out, and pass a pretty difficult persuasion check to do so.
Okay. Well, all right. Then we'll start with what we've got. Do you think that we could potentially carry a bit of it on our own cart?
Certainly, if you want to significantly affect that part for a
Just gonna
while.
Smell
Hasn't our
bad
cart
forever.
been through enough?
Yeah.
That has.
Listen.
Bad. It's gonna smell so bad.
Let's leave it to the spellcasters, right? And we just
All
keep
right.
them alive.
Okay. All right. Let's do that.
Now, I'm going to do a little time check in here. I would love to leave the actual execution of this plan for our next episode, considering that it might involve some forms of combat or some timed elements for how you guys are moving this stuff off while also dealing with these bugs. So I'm going to say that we have about 15 minutes before we're going to wrap up. if you guys want to take that time to figure out, like, describe the plan that you're doing, anything like that. If you wanted to take another short rest before you do this, like expend any spells and then take a short rest, you're welcome to do that, particularly on Kiara's behalf. But leaving the actual execution of this plan for next time, I think, is probably ideal for our time.
Short rest would also be great because I can cast floating disc as a ritual and not take a spell slot. So if we take a little bit of time to orient and figure out what we're doing, that'll also benefit me. So
Great.
Sounds good
If
to
there's
me.
any convincing of folks that you want to try and get them to engage, that's also ideal to do now. There are people who do have carts here, and unfortunately it would obviously affect their ability to transport stuff, but you might be able to get some people to volunteer.
I'm okay with it. If we're fine with just using the mages, we can just like use the mages that we have at our disposal and let the passersby pass by. Better not to involve the general population, I suppose.
Okay.
those bitches could have 5 hit points.
They could have 1 hit points.
Let's say this.
Is
since
there a
you're
way
helping-
that we could ask them,
Yeah.
like, how are we actually moving it?
If you want to
Because
try
if
and
it's
shift
like
to,
50 feet
yeah, it's
across, and then it's going to be like a ton. All right, I'm going into Bard and in and out.
I mean, I do have I have Mage Hand, and I can cast Disc and Mage Hand and Flying at the same time, technically. Because once
If
Disc
Disc-
is cast, it's not concentration, and Mage Hand is not concentration. So I can like scoop with a spectral hand, but that's 10 pounds at a time. That is not much.
Yeah, I was going to say.
yeah.
We're gonna have to get a
And
hand-
floating
So
disc.
maybe some of it over the side? You know,
I
like,
think-
getting the edges off, some animals can have some fun with that.
I think the
The
ideal
issue-
Like
plan
stuff
is...
that doesn't seem to be infected,
Yeah, Sarah.
The issue with that, I think, as was explained to us, is that there are people living below this bridge. So if we scoop some off, it might land on their houses or on them.
Oh,
And so
okay.
we want to like
I
keep control of as much of it as we can, to lessen the environmental impact.
Mhm.
Can we
If you
evacuate
take
the
some
bridge?
time, you
Like,
can attempt to shift people, like pause people from crossing while you're doing this as well.
I
Say that
think
again,
that's a
BJ?
good plan.
I was wondering if we could evacuate people off the bridge and just be
Yes.
like, hey, push forward, don't come any closer.
Definitely. Tazriel, do you want to take charge on trying to pause people from crossing?
Yeah, let's do it. Looks fancy. All right. Okay. Yeah.
he's got his. You know what? Barton's gonna stand next to you
Iron Knight
to
Riz.
kind of keep you up, but also just like a different kind of, just 2 strong-looking people.
Just
I'll let you talk though.
So is that you giving me advantage? Is that advantage? Okay,
Yeah,
sweet.
baby.
So just straight roll. Sweet.
You can let me know how you're executing this, and it could be persuasion or intimidation.
We're gonna go with persuasion. Very much
Yeah.
like is trying to project authority, but not in like a do what I say or you'll regret it. Just like a hey, I know what I'm talking about. Listen to me. We're gonna get this situated, and you can go faster than this. It's also could be dangerous. We don't want anybody getting hurt.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I will allow that to be intimidation. I think that vibes with how a Knight of the Raj...
Persuasion, I think it was.
Oh, sorry, persuasion. Persuasion, yeah.
I was like, my persuasion is infinitely
No,
better.
mean boy. He's too tired to be mean.
He's too tired for me, boy.
Oh.
Also, I think whatever he's saying, like Barton is repeating in Giantish, just in case.
That
why not?
is a 23, Alex.
Excellent.
Oh!
The two of you walking back and forth along this 100-foot span of the bridge manage to get many of these discontented people to stop. You are helped by the fact that it smells so terrible and it is so disgusting that people were already starting to turn around. Now they see, there isn't just one order member and a few volunteers who are working here, but that you have some kind of organized crew that's actually helping out. They stop and begin to pull back off of the bridge, kind of to the entrance of the lions, so giving you about a 50-foot span back from the pile of flesh to work with.
Thank you.
I
know.
Before I end this episode here, I would love if
New episode.
everyone could give me a Constitution saving throw.
Constitution.
Was that wait?
Fine. Not
Oh my
great.
god.
Are we roll these straight?
Yes.
Yeah.
Constitution saving throw
We
rolled straight. The DC is 15.
Ooh,
Do I have
12.
If you're
I got
within, if you're within 10 feet of me, you have a +3.
Oh, 15.
That would be everyone.
No, wait.
14.
I don't know if I'm within 10 foot. I got 14.
Yeah, you're all within 10 feet for this.
21.
roll.
Oh, right.
Nice. Maddie,
Cool.
are you the only one that passed then?
Maybe.
Well, how much did you say? 15?
Yara and
Yeah.
Arden both did.
Barden got a 15 too with
Yeah.
the +3.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, and the Heath succeeds, and I don't think there's anyone else that's relevant. It's kind of just you. Laura.
Laura?
succeeds. Okay. Everyone who fails, you are nauseated, which is a new step
Oh,
effect
no.
that I'm going to
Oh,
use.
no.
I'm not going to reveal what it does yet because I want to think about it for next time, but I want to make sure that I write down, I think that is Awaish and Tazriel who are nauseated. Is that correct?
It makes the screen do that little shaky thing like in Pokemon, like the like when you're poisoned.
Okay, we've got... Yes, you're Taz and Awaish.
Aw.
Okay, great. The smell and the flesh is so bad that it affects your ability to do things well. All right, let's wrap that episode here then, giving us some time to say goodbye to everyone. Thank you guys so much for watching Strange Hungers. It is a pleasure and a privilege to return. I believe we should have an episode next Saturday, as far as I can tell. But of course, keep an eye on our socials for updates on our shows and our streaming times. Strange Hungers is brought to you by One More Multiverse, which we use for many of our maps, Soundtail for the excellent musical vibes, and our incredible crew and our incredible producer, Sloan. You can find previous episodes of Strange Hungers. This was our 56th episode, which is crazy.
Episode.
You can find
Episode.
You can find past episodes on our YouTube at Total Party Kiss, and check out our other show, Tragedy of Theologian, on our YouTube, as well as on Sundays at I think 8:30 p.m. EST. Right. Any other announcements people want to add? Streams they have coming up, stuff they want to mention?
Nick?
Oh yeah, hi everybody. I'm VJ, and I am doing a fundraiser for some new computer parts for work. Yeah, we're like 17% of the way. There's amazing stuff, amazing prizes that'll get raffled off during the actual 12-hour stream on August 27th, which is a Sunday at 10 a.m. ET. Ours truly, Shan, has donated a bus, so get in while you fit in. And there's also really cute I'm a Mind Flayer girly shirts where all the proceedings
So
go
good.
to me. Yeah, they're so good. Listen,
yeah.
I work with
It's
a
go
Mind
to
Flayer,
you is the
and
best.
so do you. So get a shirt. You can find all
Someone
the
is going
information
to
that
be
on my
underdog.
Twitter, which is @VJH Creations. But yeah, that's me.
Definitely go check it out. We will be sharing information about the stream on Total Party Kisses Twitter and stuff too, like retweeting it. So yeah. Okay. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next
Thank
week.
you.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.